All right, cool. So
Hey,
welcome to Coffee Talk. We both have our coffee. How fun.
it's my choose happy cup.
I like that. I have always been an advocate for putting something, in words of what you want to move towards because there's so much negativity out there and you don't necessarily see it, but if you can see choose happy and shine and sparkle and all of these things,
Yeah,
then
exactly.
it
And
sort of overrides that underlying what's this?
yuck and stuck. Every day for like the last year and some, I've been right. Sometimes it's just a little thing, and sometimes I go all out. So here I've got what WEIP, what else is possible? I've
Uh-huh.
got the word space underneath, and in the E, I've been doing this a lot. In the E, I put J and G, ease, joy, and glory.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one also, I've got to choose to be. And I added ease spelled out, and then the G and the
So
J for joy and glory.
is
So
that
yes,
permanent?
those writing things down.
Yeah.
No, it's not permanent. It washes off most showers. It
Hmm.
said tattoo markers when I got it. I was like, oh, cool.
Fun.
As I was using my daughter's colorful eyeliners, and sometimes it's small, just for me, just for fun kind of thing. And sometimes depending on how loud the world is on the outside or the points of view, then
Yes.
kind of that relates to I take a few moments with me just to remind myself that
Yes.
I am not at the effect of this world. I get to choose my reality.
It is so invasive, isn't it? Like that's one of the things that I think people struggle with and they don't necessarily realize. Yesterday I had this total epiphany about listening to the clearing loops and how when you put the clearing loops even on silent, it overrides that underlying yuck stuff that is constantly being pumped out by wherever, whatever source, but also a lot of people
Yeah.
thinking negative thoughts and stuff. And especially at the end of the year and all that holiday stuff, and then, what's going to happen next year and all that angst. Um, I just started doing the clearing loops again. And sometimes you just can't listen to them out loud.
I
It's
thought
like,
that was just me.
and so I put them on silent. And then I realized, like, wow, interesting how, this stuff. And I was like, why is it that we have to listen to this all the time and choose these things all the time to listen to all the time? And it's like, oh, right, because it never stops the negativity that is out there in the world. It never stops.
The thing is, for me, it's there's another element to it as well. One, it
Mhm.
never stops, it never does. And the really interesting thing is how much more aware we become of all of it, because it um uh, chocar, that's in Spanish, sorry, my head just went into Spanish. It like clangs against the way that we'd like to be in the world. But the thing that's interesting, when it clangs, there's a resistance in us to what's going on. But if we're willing to
Yeah.
be space, like
Yeah.
truly a space of possibilities, of being, of space, of just being with things, being present with things, there is less of a clash, of a clang, and more of a, it just kind of goes past.
Yeah.
And
And you melt it, sort of.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you mm, I love the clearing loops, and I get Dr. Dane has this monthly program now with different clearings from, I don't know, whatever was the big class the last
Mhm.
month. So I was at the 7-day in November, and the January clearing loop has a lot of clearings that we had done in that class, for example, and it's called Dive In with Dane, and he's got different things going on there, and it is very cool. And Julie, when I make it a have to in my world in
Yeah.
any way, shape, or form, then it doesn't change as much as just being willing to be space. And saying that having these tools in our back pocket or on our phone and taking them. I have this app called Documents, and I put stuff up in iCloud on Documents so that whichever phone I have, an American phone, a Guatemalan phone, whichever device I'm on, I could listen to what I've put into iCloud. And I've been, my husband has leukemia, and when we would go together for blood tests, well, I wouldn't get the blood test, but I would accompany him for the tests. There were times where the intensity in people's world was just so huge, with all these different people waiting for all their medical procedures and their, you know, whatever else is going on. And what I did is I just reached for my phone with the Documents app, and I put in, there's a session that Dr. Dane did in ESC on the beach in Langkawi, which is available on the shop. And I played it very softly. I didn't think to do it at 0, like you were saying, but put it very softly. And it is amazing how an entire large room of people and all the angst of the cashiers and the different people just
totally. And when I noticed this thing about the clearing loops, I was listening to some from many years ago, the first Gold Club. Do you remember the Gold Club? When the Creative Edge
2010 or something like that? Yeah.
And when they did a clearing loop, Gary would read one clearing and they'd repeat it 30 times. And I was like, you know, the first 10 times you sort of hear it, and then you start to hear it, and then you can hear it. And now all these years later, I was just looking at like, wow, you know, repeating this thing 30 times. I wonder why he's saying that, this one sentence 30 times. But how many times do we have to hear something before we actually, you know, have that as our reality?
Have that space.
Because this reality is so ingrained with, it's not possible, you can't change, this is how things are. You have to say things 30 times.
Yeah, it's interesting because it just peels off layer by layer by layer, like almost as if it's taking the veils off that are, you know, in front of us and allowing us to see clearly what's going on in us and in us and in the world. And the willingness to have clarity and to choose to have ease with the clarity that we get is huge. And it's fucking brave because it's uncomfortable to listen to those.
Is uncomfortable.
Yeah. And if you look at the reference materials, 2 more steps. Yeah.
Breathe.
Or even fuck the 2 more steps. 1 more step. Just the next breath, the next choice, the next just one. And from there, see which direction and what's going on. But gift yourself the one.
Right.
And not the one, like, you know, the ring, the one ring.
And then what else can I choose? What would be fun right now, even though it feels really wonky and crazy?
But the more aware I've become, the more aware I'm becoming, it's not an end point, the more uncomfortable that awareness can be. And that's what I love with the mantra, where the invitation is that all of life, including all this fucking awareness, you know, comes to us with ease, joy, and glory. Then we can look at it as a toughness, as a difficulty, as a pain, or we can look for the silver lining, the gift, the beautiful energy that's underneath, and know that, uncomfortable is all fun.
So
but
have you also noticed, like, meeting new people and stuff in the world, although it's not that frequent these days. I've been meeting some new people, and I realized that me just showing up and being like, hi, and being present is really intense for them. And they're like totally freaked out and they don't know what to do. I'm like, we're like,
well, remember, Julie, most of them have only seen people with masks on for 2 years. You know,
So
It's
somebody was telling me that that me showing up makes them feel squirmy. And I'm like, why? And she's like, not in a bad way, in a good way.
maybe you're actually exterifying them a little bit.
I might be, which is funny.
That's actually super light. That it's that they're excited, but they're also terrified of what would happen if they step into that willingness to sparkle and be present and be joyful and just exude being them. Because how much of their life from the time they probably got to school, maybe even younger, did they cover up being themselves? Did they hide being themselves? You know?
Yeah. And it's a continual process, you know?
Hell yeah.
Who am I today and what grand and glorious adventure awaits me is a daily moment by moment uncovering.
Yeah, I remember I was in Puerto Rico, not Puerto Rico. I've never been to Puerto Rico. Must be a beautiful place. I haven't been there yet. Puerto Vallarta with my daughter for the Being You facilitator class. And one of the questions that they had asked is, what would it be like to engage different people in conversations about being themselves? And we went to the market a specific day, and I didn't film it, but we had like a 20-minute conversation with the taxi driver about what is being you for him. And he was like, wow, nobody has ever, this is the most fascinating taxi drive because nobody ever asked me anything like this. And he started looking at, well, what does it mean to him to be him? And the things and the layers, and even, we'd be silent for a couple of minutes and then more would come up, and just being willing to be the space of curiosity allows more things to pop up for people. And most people have no clue that they have that depth inside.
Yeah. It's like how much have we tried to just marginalize it so that we fit in and try to be like other people.
Yeah.
I thought that was the whole point when I was growing up, is to fit in and be like other people, and while underneath not feeling like anybody and feeling totally weird and separate. And so when Gary introduced the idea of being different, oh my gosh, I was like, no, I don't want to be different. No.
Yeah, and if somebody says weird too, like Dane's monthly program for the first couple of years was be different, stay weird. And people say, no, I got to stay away from being weird.
Yeah, I chose that because of that's what it was. And I was like, jump. And that whole program really changed a lot for me, a lot. And still does.
Sorry, helicopters fly by and sometimes they get really loud, especially
cool.
right over the house. Yeah, that there's a gift in that, if you're willing to look beyond the points of views and the definitions that you have about what different is, and you can see the gift of the difference that you be, and not the wrongness of what it may mean to be different based on everybody else's points of view. Those sneaky definitions.
Yeah. And when you try to go and explain how you're different, no, that's not what it's really about. Because when you're being you're not thinking, you're just being you.
Yeah. And you're not ashamed. You're not, trying to tuck yourself in or hide. You're unabashedly, shamelessly, fully, exuberantly yourself. And you don't think about it as having to even step up or unhide or show up or unleash or any of those beautiful terms that we hear in so many different things. You just be. Just fucking be. And then the world adjusts itself one way or another. Sometimes it adjusts itself by getting the fuck away from you as quickly as possible. And sometimes it may adjust itself by going, wow, that's really cool. I'll have me some of that. And it's like we're just sparklers out in the world, whatever it is that we're being and doing. And then sometimes the sparks that fly out light other candles, other flames, other, sparklers that are just waiting for a little bit of light to be passed to them. And
yeah, I love that. I love sparklers. Let's sparkle more.
yeah.
I have a group called Expand Your Sparkle, and we meet once a week in Facebook, and then we do a Zoom at the end of the month. And
I love that.
it's so fun. It's just, fun and light. And how can you expand your sparkle?
Because most people tend to dull themselves. There's nothing brilliant or joyful or exuberant or glorious in that. Even the words, like exuberant and glorious, many people are like, I don't want to be too much.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to be bravely too much, just for just a little bit, just for a few seconds, just for a few minutes, just to
Too much and never enough.
Yeah, exactly. You begin to see the joy and the brilliance of it. That's a huge gift. And I love the other gift that you have. You allow people to sparkle more with the jewelry that you design and that you offer. And it's beautiful just to see people literally light up the moment they put something on them. And I have a jewelry necklace too, I've realized. It's downstairs. Yes, it's downstairs. It's a really long strand, and I usually wear it doubled. And it's got sparkling beads in like a silvery color and gold. And I just realized, I didn't put it on, but I would usually wear it with other kinds of tops. Not today was like, I'm going cozy, babe.
Yeah, today is a self-care day for me, and I'm going to get a pedicure, and then I'm getting my hair done, and I'm still wearing diamonds. These are actually diamonds.
That's beautiful.
Can't really see it, but they're cognac diamonds with a pearl. I don't know. There you go.
Yeah, I sparkle there, and I have diamonds here too.
There you go. See, you can wear diamonds with a sweatshirt.
I don't take this off. I shower in this, I bathe in this, I sleep in this, even my rings. I know that's horrible. But I don't even notice that it stays on, and it stays on. It's become kind of part of them.
Yeah. Well, we can get in. No, I'm not going to talk about that. But it is a nice thing every morning to choose the accessories that you're going to wear for the day, because then you're in that choice point instead of I always wear these and I never change them. Because sometimes your body needs a different energy, and
and everything's in communion and speaking with us. So there's other elements that would like to contribute, and other energies that would like to come and play. And I do it with my clothes all the time.
Yeah.
But and I've done it with jewelry as well. Like I'll ask my body, but I didn't ask my body today about the jewelry.
And this is the thing about consciousness. We have it in all these different areas, and it's just like spreading it through the areas that we don't have it, where we're not in question. And it's not wrong to have those areas where we're not in question. It's just what is.
Yeah. But I love the surprise. Like I was flying, I guess last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever, like towards the end of 2021, I was flying, and the sunlight coming in through the window caught the diamonds and the sparkles on on the side of the window, on the passenger that was next to me, and on everything. And I'm a bit of a kid and sort of chaotic, and so I was just like da, 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 and having all of these rainbows flying all through the cabin, and it was just delightful. Like it made me enjoy my flight even more.
Yeah.
With something so simple.
I used to do that when I was in the car with my kids, and my watch, I think, used to make a couple of light flashes, and I'd move it all around and go doot doot. And so we called it the doot doot. Like, doot, 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 doot. Oh my gosh. And they still, like, to this day, they love when something does that. And there was also we had this big, beautiful window that faced the ocean, and we'd always look at the sunsets, and they'd run down the hall at the end of the night and they'd look at the sunset. And it's so nice because now that they're in their 20s, they still appreciate that every day the sunset is different. And there's so many people who don't even look at it. And they're just like, how can you not marvel at the beauty of the colors in the sky and the different clouds and how it changes all the time?
Every single day, like a paintbrush, like a painting that's constantly shifting, and different elements that are added to it. I'm blessed because I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but on my balcony, and then I have this view, but it looks like plain white, but there's volcanoes and a lake back there.
Oh,
and
cool.
Come evening time, when the sun goes down, I call it the fairy lights come on. The other side of the barranco, of the ravine here, all the little homes begin to light up little by little. So all these little sparkles turn on. And then, like what you were saying with the sunset, the colors are just spectacular. And no photo that I take captures the phenomenons and just this, wow, what a world we get to live in. We get to live in this. We get to enjoy this. We get to be able to see this and experience this. And it's magical. And it's one of those things that contributes, that gratitude, like what your kids have, contributes so much to our wealth, to our abundance, to our receiving everything in the world. It gives a sense of relaxation and peace, and it gives a sense of that I've got this, Thank you.
He's like, and me too. Yeah. And being present for that is a muscle that we have to build, because a lot of people lose that presence in the trying to mold yourself and perfect yourself and all of those things.
Into this all the time.
Yeah.
We do a lot of getting into the head and forgetting to be present, and then we're not able to see all the presents that are around us.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's often moments of silence, and that's okay,
That just and tears. That just came up for me too. There's such an amazing world we get to live in. Wow.
Yeah, so there goes the SOP energy. Like, let's just do a little mini SOP for people who would like to receive this. And I was on John Ashford, who was watching here earlier. He did a SOP thing yesterday, Soul Shine Sunday. And something that he said that I hadn't really clicked into yet was, receiving the earth. Yes. But he said, receive from all the animals on the earth. And I was like, oh, I haven't asked for that before. And it was so
the animals, the plants, the mountains, the lakes, the ravine, even the insects, everything, everything.
And let every molecule of your body turn on and hum and vibrate and sing in harmony, unison.
I'd like to sing the world a song. All I remembered was perfect harmony, but I'm not into perfect harmony. I definitely am not in harmony. Well, in terms of my voice, singing in harmony. But But you know what's interesting? If you look at a brand new little baby that comes into the world, they're in communion. They're receiving from everything. They're open to it all. They're not at all resistant or hiding or separate or trying to be anything other than just being. And in their being, they receive the wonder of everything, whether it's an animal that, like a bird that's flying across the sky or something that's walking along the grass. They're in wonder, and they could stare for hours at the leaves, at the trees, at the wind that's blowing, at the plant petals, at everything.
And we can stare for hours at babies.
Because they're reminding us of what's possible.
Yeah. I think it's also like such a and I don't want to say force, but it's like this energetic melting and inclusion that just makes your brains go away, and you just want to go, oh my God, like, look at how amazing you are.
Yeah. And then at some point, whenever we have these expectations of these beautiful beings, or wherever we have points of view that may be different, we start to fight to defend whatever we think is the right thing, or whatever we think would be best for them, rather than allowing them the ability to choose what's going to work for them in the world. And then suddenly they're not the beautiful miracle baby that we see. We suddenly holler at them or tell them that they have to do their homework or whatever other expectation we may have. And then the magic just kind of drains and drips and goes off. And we
Talk. Don't say it.
Yeah. But the thing is that when you recognize it and you remember that this is a miracle, you have a choice in that moment to go back to seeing the wonder in everyone and everything.
Yep.
And that's where choice what is, I can't remember what out creates, I guess would be the word. The pod and the puck, because the pod and the puck goes back to, I've got a problem that I have to fix. But we do not have problems we have to fix. We're possibility choosers. We're sparklers. We're lights. We're us being us. And us being us is just pure phenomenons and magic. And there go the tears again.
Yeah, what a wonderful way to complete our coffee talk. So thank you so much for playing. Thanks everybody for watching. And I've got
you for having me here.
Other things to jump onto. So thank you for playing.
Thank you. And thank you everybody watching. Bye.
Bye.